Hey, what's up guys? Mike Locke here. I wanted to demonstrate my web design process and show you how I went about designing this website. You're looking at a fictitious sports website, a project that I recently did, and this is the player's profile page. Jimmy Rollins, I'm using as an example, Philadelphia Phillies. And this particular site, you generally see this on ESPN.com, Fox Sports, Yahoo Sports, MLB.com. Um, and for this particular design, what I wanted to do was demonstrate my web design process and show you what I would typically do when designing a mock-up or a website and take you through the steps, yeah, on the behind the scenes on what goes on before I actually get to the mock-up process, opening up Photoshop, or in my case Fireworks, and designing this. So what I'm going to do is take you through the steps, and if you're a web designer and you're just sort of new to the game, this would be very helpful to you to understand my web design process and apply it to what you're doing today, or use it as a reference point, and or maybe you can improve upon it. All right, so let's start off with step number one. Step number one in the web design process is you always want to define the business requirements. This is very important, whether you're working with a client, a small business, a freelance project, or you're working in a big corporate environment and you're working with product managers. The first thing is to define the business requirements for this project. For the project that I just showed you, this sports website here, there were 5 requirements. Number one, keep the page simple. Number 2, highlight current statistics and player information. Number 3 was the latest news regarding the player or team should be prominently displayed. Number 4, the fantasy ranking and information should be easily accessible. And number 5 was the overall design for the page should be exciting and bold while maintaining a clean interface. Okay, so that's a requirement. Some requirements can be very detailed. In this case, we're very simple. All right, so now I have the business requirements, and I go on to step 2, which is I would do a competitive analysis. And this is this is the research phase of the process. And in this particular case, I visited Yahoo Sports, ESPN.com, MLB.com, Fox Sports, and basically took a look at all their player profile pages, and I just sort of did an audit on those particular sites. Let me take you to those sites. So here's Yahoo Sports, ESPN.com, Fox Sports, and MLB.com. So what I'll do is take about 30 minutes to an hour. You can do this by yourself or with a team. Obviously, if you're working with a team, you want to gather a group of people in a room, in a whiteboard, and just start, sort of brainstorming on and start doing an audit and just look at these sites and see what are the things that they're doing well and what are the things you like, what are the things you don't like, and take away some things, and maybe you can improve upon some things, and how you want to improve on that and apply it to your project. Okay, so that's number 2. That's the competitive analysis or website audit and the research. All right, so going on to step number 3. Once you're done with that, you're going to start with the brainstorming, which is what I call the brainstorming, conceptual thinking, and sketching. So here I have an example of my sketchbook, and this is basically me jotting down, creating a rough sketch of what this website is going to look like. And if you're working with a team, obviously you'll be in a room on a whiteboard, and you're just basically jotting down ideas, and you're conceptualizing. You're not really finalizing anything at this point. You're just kind of getting a rough sketch on what the site will look like. Or obviously the goal at the end of this brainstorming process is to come away with key points that and a rough idea on what the site might look like. All right, so here's a little photo of what I actually did for the Jimmy Rollins profile page, and just give you an idea there. So that's number 3. Okay, so let's see, step number 4. Once you're done with the brainstorming, you want to go to a low fidelity wireframe. Okay, this obviously can be done with Microsoft Visio, OmniGraffle for the Mac, or in my case I use a web-based application called Go Mockingbird, or it's called Mockingbird, but if you go to gomockingbird.com, you can see it. And here's an example. Here's the site that I built. And what I like about the low fidelity wireframe is that I could do this very quickly without too much effort. You know, I can, especially in Go Mockingbird or Mockingbird, I can just go over here and to the left here, I can just drag components onto the screen and easily build them without needing without actually designing anything and putting too much time and effort into it. So this particular, once I'm done with the brainstorming session and I have a rough sketch, I can come in here and really knock out a low fidelity wireframe within a matter of 30 minutes. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I kind of get an idea, and I'm maybe getting feedback from my client or my product manager on what they like. Once I'm sort of set there, I move to a more high level, high fidelity wireframe. And this is generally done for me. I do this in Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Fireworks. And what I'll do here is basically be more specific. So for example, the navigation bar is now defined to 960 by 40 pixels. The photo here is now defined to 200 by 225. The font sizes for these different sections are now defined, and the site or the design is now coming together. It's looking a little bit more realistic, and we're starting to see the spacing and how things are going to be laid out. All right, so that's step number 5, high fidelity wireframe. All right, step 6, once you're done with the high fidelity wireframe, you want to basically print that out and get more, start to do more corrections on it. So in my case, I like to print it out and grab a red pen, and here's a snapshot of what I did. There's some changes that I went through before I get to the final stage, and do some corrections there, and then go back to the drawing board and fix those corrections. And for step 7, you want to basically finalize the mock-up and add specifications. The specifications part is normally comes into play when you're working in a team and you need to document these different sections for the development process. All right, maybe if you're working for yourself, you don't really have to do this, but generally valuable or important when you're working in a team environment. What I'll do is sort of number these areas, and down below the mock-up, you want to call these areas out, and you want to sort of specify what these sections mean. So for example, number 1 was the navigation. I specify the height and the width and the actual font size, Arial, bold, 13-point font. For example, number 2 here. Number 2, that's the player photo. That's 200 by 225 pixels, preferably an action photo, not posed. Alright, so you want to specify these different areas, and this is helpful to document for standard style guide and things like that, and for also for developers or the visual designer. So once you're done there, you basically move on to the next phase, which is the mock-up phase, which is when you add visual design to it. In my case, I'll pull up Adobe Fireworks and start to design the page based on my wireframe specifications. And okay, so here is the end result. Obviously, I use Fireworks, but you can do the same in Adobe Photoshop, which is the industry standard. But here it is. I don't really have time to show you the maybe in another video I'll show you what I went through to actually design these different parts. But basically, I just wanted to show you my web design process. What I'll do is I'll add this document to the description box there. You can download it and use it as a reference. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, mlock@mlwebco.com, and hope this was helpful. We'll talk soon. Bye.